Hello, Star Wars Galaxy of Hero players. This is Anditesh Ordo. Today I'm going to be covering the event calendar for March and the login character, which is Stormtrooper Han. And I'm also going to be talking about my thoughts on the login character. So, first off, obviously, they always have it where a disclaimer, all dates are subject to change, so that's always an obvious given. So I'm just going to skim through really quick. Today we have the Ghosts of Dathomir, and then we do get a couple of Salt battles, Endor Escalation, Ewok, and then Omega battle, Defense of Dathomir, Fleet Mastery. So we get the Fleet Masteries again, which is always nice. One thing I was going through this, if you guys look, I do not see Yoda, the Grand Master, unless I missed it somewhere. But I do not see the Grandmaster event for Yoda. But I'm sure the reason why they did that is because they're probably planning on setting up the Mythic event for Yoda. They're probably doing, like one every month just to get him caught up. And that's kind of exciting. So, yeah, that's what it is. Then we got the territory battles. We always have, it seems like always the beginning of the month, we always have Darkseid, which is great. I like that. I feel like I'm starting to be really prepared for the Imperial Droid one. During last night, I also did the one for Rolo, so now I'm contributing to my guild, which I'm glad to be doing. And I don't have to worry about 7-starring them, at least right now. Of course, my guild will probably change that down the road, and, that's fine. As long as I'm not farming a lot of light side or dark side characters at that time, because I'm trying to catch up on Death Trooper and Sith Trooper. So, of course, they have the list of the territory wars. We're going to have 4 this month, obviously, in between the territory battles. So, yep, that is that. So, I want to quickly mention, so we got Stormtrooper Han coming in March. So, there's a few things that could be said. One, they're probably prepping ahead of time to get ready for the movie in May, not December, May. So, prepping that is great. Also, I'm going to swap over to this. So, and I feel like this is going to be a month where they're going to do a scoundrel. I feel like it could be a scoundrel, maybe scoundrel / bounty hunter. And maybe they just rework bounty hunters and leave them alone. And then that way the month of bounty hunters, well, at least they could do this. The month of bounty hunters, all they have to do is just focus heavy on throwing in bounty hunters, have a big bounty hunter month. It would make them a good amount of money down the road. So that's a possibility, or they may just stick with scoundrels. So I can talk about bounty hunters a lot, so I'm just going to quickly talk about some of the scoundrels that definitely would need reworks. Excuse me. But of course, obviously bounty hunters are for sure, they all need reworks, period. And Boba Fett could use a light boost, but he's still great, so he doesn't really need it. So the first one is, of course, the login character, Stormtrooper Han, which I'm okay with it, because that means throughout the month I can, work on my shard currency for sure. All right, so, but the thing about Stormtrooper Han is he's great, he's already gotten a rework, except the one thing he didn't get a rework on is his Plan B. And I'm sure they'll probably maybe add that in as a light rework for Stormtrooper Han. Zetaing his leadership would be great. Just depends on how they really work it. I feel like they could increase the percentages. So like defense, 40% defense would go up to maybe 80% defense, 70 to 80. And then the 35 would go up to between 45 and 50, somewhere around there. Or 40 to 55 or something, while below. And obviously adding maybe something else to the leadership. So there's a lot of things they could do with that. Not much thought on that. Lando Calrissian, he's going to be in the movie as well. So reworking this Lando would be awesome. I guess his basic wouldn't be too bad. Maybe increase the, percentages and damage a little bit. But, for the most part, he does really well. But his leadership and unique just need a rework, a Zeta. Like Scoundrel and Rebel allies getting 30 speed, not 15. And, of course, 30 to 45 critical damage instead of 29. But of course, this is a character, I guess, back when the game first came out, so it kind of makes sense it's time to update it anyways. So getting a Zeta, adding a few more buffs and speed, and maybe get some turn meter, or who knows, maybe inflicting some debuffs. But then again, this character's not really a debuffer. He's more of just a straight damage. At least that's what I've seen. So, and then High Roller, I think it'd be kind of cool. I know this kind of sounds weird, but having an ability where, he gets +7 something. I'm saying 7 of any status effect. Like, for example, 7% critical chance equal to the number of scoundrels on the field. Sorry about that. So that means he could get a good amount of critical chance up. It maybe either critical damage, maybe some speed, something like that. So High Roller, +7 to everything, kind of makes sense. At least in that regard, because then you get the lucky number 7 a lot. But then again, who knows what they'll do with High Roller, but at least those two abilities need Zetas. Chewbacca always could use a rework, could use some love. Of course, yes, we could use the in episode 4 Chewbacca. I have discussed him in a previous video talking about improving the current raid rewards at the time, and adding a Chewbacca in episode 4 Millennium Falcon into the game and add him as raid rewards. It would excite guilds to now go, okay, now I can farm a Chewbacca. I already have 7-star Han, but now it's time to farm Chewbacca. That would work with the current raid Han. And then, of course, they get their iconic ship, and it just makes sense. That would be a great way to just add in those two characters. They don't need to add them in as marquee events, because it'll take a while to even get those characters out. But at least with this character, maybe increase percent chance. His taunt can go up to 30, or not 30 turns, 3 turns, not 30. His health up could go up, or he also gets maybe defense up and a few other buffs. Another thing I'm going to predict a little bit, and I may discuss it in another video as well, is the fact that, of course, it sounds like Han Solo does, find Chewbacca through Kashyyyk and stuff like that. So they may revisit that, which means we might get and I'm kind of predicting this a bit, that we might get a new faction in Wookiees. I feel like that'd be a great thing, because we already got 2 Wookiees. We added, say, the 3rd Wookiee into the raid reward of Chewbacca, and then they add a few different other Wookiees, and then they'd also be prepared for, if they decide to add more Knights of the Old Republic characters, there would be 2 Wookiees between those 2 games, Zalbar and Hanhar. So, yeah, there's a lot of, ways they can work that out. So Defiant Roar could, eventually not just do it for himself, but for the Wookiees on a Wookiee team. So Clone Wars Chewbacca would be really good for that, especially since Clone Wars Chewbacca at the time was working with the Wookiees on Kashyyyk. So, of course, his leader could be buffed a bit more as an Omega, or even at worst case scenario, they could always Zeta it and turn it into a Zeta, take off the Omega. You get your Omegas back, but you get a Zeta leadership, and maybe even add a second special. So there's some possibilities with that Clone Wars Chewbacca. Cad Bane's bounty hunter. Gamorrean Guard, I don't know where they would take this character, just beef him up a bit. That's all I have to say, is just beef him up, man, or maybe even give him a unique. Of course, yes, linking to the raid, the Rancor raid, there is 2 other Gamorreans, so they could always add those 2 as well into the game, but I highly doubt it. These 2 Hans, I don't know if this veteran Han and Chewie need rework or not, like a light rework. They seem pretty good when they first came out, but they're just not being used. They don't have synergy with any teams, because they're not Resistance. But then again, he never really worked for the Resistance, really, which makes sense. Captain Han, I could see him being turned into a healer. That's a for sure thing. Him and Luminara could be definitely turned into healers. And maybe some more buffs, like his heal and revive abilities also work with scoundrels. That could be a thing. Other than that, nothing much for Captain Han. And I think that is... Oh, Mob Enforcer could use a rework, but will they touch this one? Probably not. Or maybe just give a simple, basic, taunting tank out of her. But even then, I don't think she'd be used. She's a dark side scoundrel, so... Newt Gunray, I don't see them working on this one because it's more Separatist based, and he'll probably get a rework during Separatist times. So, that's kind of my thoughts on the login rewards, my predictions for Scoundrels. I'm going to be planning a video on what Scoundrels I want to predict coming into the game, if they at least take this route. So definitely stay tuned for that. Again, thanks for watching. I really appreciate it. You guys have a wonderful day, and yeah.